Hey, how's it going everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So last week I had a fun time running all three forms of Kyurem in Pokemon Black and White, and that was so fun. Definitely go check that one out if you haven't already. It was actually really easy to bring in Kyurem Black and Kyurem White, and as we bring in the tier list, we can see, yeah, of course, none of them really struggled and all performed incredibly well, sitting into that S+ tier. So yeah, Kyurem White are tippy top #1 Pokemon right now, and I do not think that that thing is going to be dethroned in the Unova region. So yeah, that was a ton of fun. Speaking of the tier list, I have changed my settings and all that fun stuff, so I did want to consolidate the tier list and kind of wipe the slate clean. I have done a couple of re-ranks like the Swords of Justice, and I did Durant just because, you know, it was fun and, you know, in preparation of this video, so that was pretty interesting. But, you know, there is a playlist linked down below at the end of the video and on that little iCard thing that popped up, so go check out that if you want to see all the Pokemon that I've run so far. But everything will get re-ranks, and this tier list is going to start filling out a little bit more. But stick around, because today we got one more dragon that I want to run this month, and it is, of course, going to be the pseudo-legendary of Unova, Hydreigon. Alright, so let's nip this in the bud right now. Yes, I do know that I pronounce it quote-unquote wrong, but it is a Pokemon, and nobody really cares. Pronounce it however you want, as long as it's not too terribly weird. And so yeah, it is technically pronounced Hydreigon. It is Ein, Zwei, Drei. First three numbers of German. Yeah, we get it. If you want to leave me a comment about it anyway, though, why not? You know, I'll take comments. You know, they're pretty nice. So anyway, though, speaking of, this Pokemon is incredible. At some point, I think it might have actually been my favorite Pokemon, and for good reason. It's got an incredible design. This is, in my opinion, one of the best designed Pokemon, period. It is just really cool. It's very powerful. It was one of the best competitive Pokemon at the time, and it's really, even when fairy types got introduced in the next generation, it didn't really actually fall off as hard. Sure, it's 4 times weak to fairy, but it got really strong coverage still, and it just hits hard. It's awesome. This Pokemon is so cool. Of course, though, it does hold another very interesting accolade, and that is that it evolves the latest of any current Pokemon, which is absolutely ridiculous because you have to get to level 64 to evolve this Pokemon. Absolutely absurd. So it is very well worth it for a competitive sense, but yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a struggle and in our solo running context. Anyway, though, we got a lot going on in this video, so let's go ahead and get into it and see how the Hydreigon-line does in Pokemon Black and White. So as we get into the run, one of the first things that you're going to notice whenever we get into this battles here is, and over on the side, we're running a shiny dino, because I'm actually going to be showcasing the run that I played on stream alongside D1. So we did it kind of together, just a nice little fun little collab stream. We've done this with other Pokemon in the past, and I thought it would just be fun just to stream and play with a shiny dino. So that was pretty cool. So definitely go check him out. He should have a video on his channel as well of his run where he actually started with a Hydreigon and we kind of like raced against each other. But there is a full stream VOD linked down below, so if you want to see the entire stream, and yeah, I actually remembered to record it and upload it unlisted and all that fun stuff this time around. So there's that. Anyway, though, you saw we have Dragon Rage. This is not going to be any problem in the early game once again, so let's go ahead and break down what we're working with today. So I'm going to start off with Dino, because If you know anything about this line, like I've said, it takes forever to evolve, so it makes sense to start with the Pokemon that we are going to be dealing with the most today. And all things considered, Dino is actually not that bad. We have 65 attack, that's not terrible. 50 in bullet defenses with 52 HP is pretty solid, especially once we get access to Eviolite. However, it's kind of slow at 38 speed and not great special attack, but yeah, that's okay. We do get to start off with Tackle, Focus Energy, and Dragon Rage, of course. So Dragon Rage is going to make the first split here completely free, and then we'll eventually pick up things like Headbutt, Bite, a couple other Dragon moves and stuff like that. And then whenever we eventually get to level 50, we'll evolve into Zweilous, but we'll cover him a little bit here. Dark and Dragon is a fantastic offensive typing in this game. There are very few things outside of Steel types that actually resist the combo, which is very cool because, of course, this is still Generation 5. Steel does resist Dark still. However, we don't have a great ability. Hustle is not a bad ability. I will not really say it's a bad ability, but getting a 50% boost to our attack is undeniably good, but that also comes at a very significant decrease to our accuracy for any physical moves. So yeah, this is just a run that's going to be very inherently inconsistent, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. So overall though, I think that this is going to be really fun, although Dino's gonna have to carry us quite a while until we get to Zweilous. And Zweilous also is not really that bad. It's pretty much just a buffed up version of Dino. We have 85 attack with 65 in special attack. Not terrible, but not amazing. Good defenses, especially with Eviolite considered, and pretty slow still at 58 base speed, with the same typing and same decent hustle ability. I'll touch on the HMs and TMs though, because it's pretty much the same thing as Dino. We do get Work Up, which is pretty nice. You know, getting a setup move very early is also pretty good. And then we get things like Rock Smash, Return, of course, Rest, and all that fun stuff. It's actually kind of limited, but that is definitely going to open up whenever we finally get to level 64, where we can evolve up into Hydreigon. And yeah, this Pokemon is obviously incredible. So 125 base special attack, 105 attack, giving us great mixed offensive stats, 90 in both defenses, 92 HP, and a solid 98 speed. And we actually trade out Hustle for the Levitate ability, giving us an immunity to ground type moves, which is awesome. Same pretty much level up move pool that you'd expect, but then the TM move pool expands drastically. We get things like Focus Blast, Fire Blast, Charge Beam, Flash Cannon, you name it, it probably gets it. On the physical side, we got Earthquake, Bulldoze, Rock Slide, Acrobatics, U-Turn, Payback. Yeah, this Pokemon's move pool, with TMs considered, is absolutely ridiculous, and I love that about this guy. So yeah, Hydreigon is going to be definitely the big prize that we're going to be looking forward to once we get to it at level 64. But yeah, it's going to be quite a while until we get there. So yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough. So let's go ahead and face off with our first gym leader. Of course, Chili's not going to be a problem with Dragon Rage, so we're running a Naughty Nature. I'm just going to take that opportunity to say that now. So, yeah, this is going to be boosting our already really solid attack thanks to Hustle, but at the cost of some special defense, which is honestly not that bad because pretty much all special hits that we're going to be taking, for the most part, we're going to be resisting with the dragon typing, so that's pretty good. So after we get contracted by Fennel, let's go ahead and beat up a couple of dudes in the Dream Yard and head out towards Route 3. We are a slow growth rate Pokemon that is going to require a ton of experience, so I am going to be starting things off with training very early, heading into the preschool here. These are pretty much like the only worthwhile trainers on Route 3 to battle, so that was just kind of a no-brainer, and we're also going to grab the Ultra Ball in the sandbox right here. After this, we're going to fight Sharon. His Tepig is the first Pokemon in the game, if he has it, that is going to live a Dragon Rage, and then we can go beat up some dudes in the Wellspring Cave, as well as catch some of our HM friends before grabbing a glitched rare candy and heading into Nacrene City. Sharon's going to hook us up with some Chesto Berries, and then we're going to stop by the Pinwheel Forest as usual, also grabbing that Ultra Ball in the patio over here that I've been picking up recently. We're going to grab the TM for Rock Smash, set up our healing spot right here with the nurse, and grab ourselves a Tympole, because we will be needing a Surf User on top of a Persim Berry later on that it does hold, so that's pretty useful. After that, of course, we're going to deposit our team battle, and he's not really too much of a problem, and head into the gym. However, of course, I'm streaming and playing alongside my friend, so I'm not really paying attention, and I actually take a blackout to the first trainer and his Patrat using Bide. So yeah, make sure you pay attention whenever you're playing. Other than that though, not really too much going on right here, so let's go ahead and see how we tackle Lenora. Alright, so Lenora on one hand shouldn't be too bad because we have Dragon Breath. On the other hand, we're really slow. So we actually kind of struggle with the Herdier right here, just two-shotting us with Takedown. That's not great. But I still do have some faith in Dino. We do have some stuff going for us. We do have Dragon Breath, and that can paralyze. And we do have AI shenanigans that can work for us, like Herdier going for Leer, meaning that we're not one-shot by the takedown on the following turn, but then one shot by the Watchog on the following turn. So yeah, it's just blackout training on Lenora. Not really a whole lot else that we can do. We have a couple more trainers. Maybe we can auto grind and stuff like that. But in my opinion, if you have a fairly consistent way to beat that Herdier, it is almost always more worth it to do it this way, especially when you can get, like I said, paralysis on that Dragon Breath right there. Unfortunately, Watchog doesn't have any time for me, so let's go ahead and skip right to the winning attempt. Yeah, and only after 6 blackouts. This is actually not that bad. We're going to go for the Dragon Breath. We get Leered. Misses a takedown. We love to see that. Get to level 20. Not really going to matter too much in this fight, but we dodge a Hypnosis. We get the Paralysis. It hits a Hypnosis, and we get a couple extra Dragon Rages, and that's going to knock her out. So, a little bit lucky on that fight. No, you can't deny that, but, you know, it's actually not that bad of a fight. Like I said, we have a lot of things going for us, so let's go ahead, watch the Plasma Dude steal a skull for some reason, and chase him into Pinwheel Forest. On our way through, I'm going to battle the extra Ranger because he does give pretty good experience with his single Herdier, and I actually do get a free Audino. Why not? I will definitely take that with this Pokemon right here. Other than that, Dragon Rage is still doing really well, knocking out a lot of the really weak stuff on the Plasma Grunt teams, as well as we're able to clear out the bridge trainers really easily. Then we could cross that gorgeous Skyward Bridge and head into Castelia City. As soon as we enter into the big city, I'm going to stop by the Pokemon Center and then just go right back out. This lets us set up our respawn point just in case we black out. Then we can go up the skyscraper right here, grab the TM for rest, and get a little massage on the bottom floor from the girl. Then we're going to stop by the North Street and grab the Eviolite. Of course, this is going to be a fantastic health item for us as long as we remain unevolved, which we're not going to be evolving into our final form anytime soon. This is going to give us 50% boost to our defense and special defense. So it is going to be held for the vast majority of this run, as you can imagine. So after that, we're going to head into the battle company to do a little bit of training right here. Just do the training on the bottom floor right here. Maybe I should have touched some of the trainers on the top floor, especially the dude with the monkeys. Actually gives pretty decent experience, but usually I only touch the bottom, this middle floor trainers rather, and then we can head into the gym. Honestly, the gym trainers weren't actually that bad. It was just a little bit surprising because especially the Swaddles have a pretty strong bug bite that can hit us super effectively, and I was a little bit worried about that. Overall though, no problems, and we can hit level 25 to get Crunch just in time to face off with Berg. So Berg is actually kind of easy, wild enough. His best move, or his quote-unquote best move against us, is Struggle Bug, and that move is just terrible, so it's not even doing that much damage. Unfortunately, it does look like I'm missing out on some one-shots, even though we do have the very powerful Crunch, and we do get pretty low. Levanny, though, it's just going to waste its time trying to protect instead of hit us, so we break through with a couple Dragon Rages, and we get our 3rd gym badge first try. Awesome! Let's go. So that was actually kind of surprising. I thought I was going to be stuck there a little bit longer than I was, but you know what? We take those. Sometimes Berg is a demon and he just is a massive wall, and sometimes he just gives you the fight. So let's head out towards Route 4. Bianca's not really going to be a problem, and then I can heal up at the house and go battle the fisherman trainers. Unfortunately, though, with the sand and hustle misses, my boy Andrew actually gives me a blackout, which is so wild. Come on, Andrew, I thought we were homies. So this actually does give me a little bit of extra experience because I was able to knock out a couple of his Basculins, and on the follow-up try, I do knock him out pretty easily. So let's go ahead and face off with Sharon. So this fight shouldn't be too bad, but of course, with Hustle, there's always going to be a problem. So Pansage is going to come out. I'm going to go for Crunch and miss, and then the Leech Seed is going to do a lot. Pignite, it doesn't actually have any fighting type moves right now, but I can't really knock it out very quickly with things like Dragon Rage and Dragon Breath and stuff like that. So I have to 3-hit it. All the while I am getting just messed up by Sand and Leech Seed and stuff. I miss one last headbutt onto the Liepard, and I actually take a blackout, which is very unfortunate. The second try around, though, this fight is completely free. I don't miss nearly as many moves, and we can head into Nacrene City. As we enter into Nacrene, I get jumped by a plasma guy, and I've never had to talk about this guy before, and for good reason. He's pretty easy. But dude, you gotta watch this. But I think it's still interesting. No way! What the f***? What is this game?
What just happened?
I blacked out to the dude, the plasma dude. Like, that was bullying the bike guy. God. What the f is this game?
Oh my god.
Yeah, man, just Hustle is just the worst. So yeah, second try around though, he's very easy. I knock him out in a couple hits, and yeah, dude, I don't think I've crashed out that quite that hard in a while. That was no doubt entertaining, but holy crap, that was so dumb. So anyway, let's go ahead, buy the TM for return, top off on some hyper potions, and head towards the amusement park for our date with N. Thankfully, he's not really that bad. We do cut it really close, thanks to some more hustle misses, but I do win first try, and we can make our way through the gym. Outside of some paralysis shenanigans and stuff, they're a little bit annoying, but pretty easy, so we can face off with Elisa. So on paper, Elisa should be pretty easy, just go for a bunch of crunches, but then I kind of forgot to PP up my crunch, or ether up my crunch, so I'm gonna go for a couple of Dragon Rages and stuff like that. Since Shrike is gonna come out, I got a crunch for it, and I get a critical hit! No idea if that would have killed or not, but hey, we're gonna roll with it. Yeah, Dino definitely getting a little bit lucky in this run as we get our 4th gym badge and we can get on out of here, do a little bit of Pokemon dress up with Bianca, and head out towards Route 5. The Sharon fight here is just probably the most annoying one of his fights because Liepard has fake outs and loves to hit me with Torment and stuff, but I do get to learn Dragon Pulse along the way, so that's pretty cool. I'm actually going to hang on to Dragon Rage because it's still somewhat useful right now. The Tranquil also loves to go for Protect and stuff, and it's just so annoying. I hate this Pokemon, so I have to save my crunches for later. I still have Headbutt for the chance to, you know, flinch and stuff like that. But thankfully, we are able to connect with his Pignite and knock it out after hitting it with the Dragon Pulse. Yeah, I hate that fight so much. So let's go ahead and beat up a couple toddlers and we can head into Driftvale City. In the cold storage, we're going to grab the PP up in the trash can, which I'm probably going to be spending on Crunch. I think that this is the best option. It is my go-to move in this run. And then we're also going to grab a protein in the grass over here because we are going to be using our physical attack a lot. Thankfully, none of the demon watchhogs inside are going to give us any problems, so that's pretty cool. So we can just go ahead and grab the expert belt and head towards the gym. None of the gym trainers are really that bad, so we can face off with Clay. So for Clay, I'm going to be using a strategy I've been a big fan of recently, and that's going to be using his Krokorok against him. So we are going to get tormented, but then we get swaggered, getting a free +2 attack. We do have to go for a Dragon Pulse and risk taking a ton of damage from his Excadrill, but we knock it out on the following turn, and then one more crunch for his Palpitoad is going to knock him out. So yeah, that is actually a really solid strategy that I've used with a lot of Pokemon at this point, since I can get that Person Berry a lot more consistently on from the Temple in the early game right there. So definitely a solid strategy for Clay in my opinion. So let's go ahead, grab some Max Repels and Hyper Potions, clear out Bianca on the way out of town. She's not really that big of a deal, take a ton of damage, but it's still a pretty easy win, and we can head into Charstone Cave. As we make our way through, I do have to run into some more of those demon watchhogs, and yeah, this one actually does get me Super Fang plus Confuse Ray and stuff like that, but I did save right before the start of this gauntlet, so I do have to do a couple of battles again, but it's not really that bad. Thankfully, no more problems with the rest of the gauntlet. Let's head downstairs. I'm going to clear out the Ace trainers right here for some pretty decent experience and grab a rare candy, and then we can face off with N at the end. So N shouldn't, on paper, be that bad. We do have some pretty strong attacks, but Hustle do be hustling sometimes, so we miss against the Joltik and take a ton of damage. We have to do a lot of damage to the Ferroseed with Rock Smash, which means that we have to touch it with our with the Iron Barbs and stuff. Clink comes out, and I miss my Rock Smash, so Gear Grind actually knocks me out. So yeah, unfortunately, Hustle be hustling sometimes. So second try around is actually very easy. Thankfully, I don't miss nearly as much, so that's always nice, and we can head into Mistralton City. As I'm making my way through the manual psychic room, my B button press doesn't trigger, so I accidentally run into one extra trainer right here. Honestly, not that bad. Duocean does give some pretty good experience, so I'll take it. After that, we're going to clear out the Fatfish Nurse to get a nice free heal right here and some good experience. And then I'm actually going to also battle the Ace trainers on the top floor. However, the Swoobat trainer hustle be hustling, and I actually take a blackout. God, that's frustrating. So yeah, that thing should have been dead in one hit. Thankfully, the next try around, I'm going to just get my revenge. One crunch is gonna knock her out, and we can meet up with Skyla at the top of the tower. At the top, we can ring that bell to send Skyla back to the gym, and lets me say, hey, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this video. If you haven't already, please consider maybe subscribing. I do these solo challenge videos in Pokemon Black and White at least once a week, and I do, of course, stream occasionally and stuff like that. You can also check out my Discord, keep up to date with like my solo runs and stuff like that, and other stuff that I'm doing, like my ROM hack and stuff. So it's a little bit quiet, but it's all good. It's nice and chill, so that's not too bad. And every once in a while, I'll hop on there and I'll do like maybe like a re-rank and stuff to my Discord live and stuff like that. So if you're interested in maybe interacting with me and stuff like that, that'd be a good way to do that. So overall, though, not really interesting in this gym right here. So let's face off with Skyla. Alright, let's do this, Skyla. She leads off with a Swoobat. I'm not going to relive that Celestial Tower problem. Go straight for a crunch and knock that out. Unpheasant as well is going to drop in a single hit, leaving just the Swanna. I do say no to Dragon Rush. No thank you. I already have to deal with Hustle. I don't need any more nonsense. One more crunch for that, and I want to skip to my live thoughts on how this run is going so far. Alright, first try Skyla, let's go. Easy peasy.
Let's go.
Just over an hour. Honestly, of all the bull, this actually is doing okay. This is actually, I don't feel like this Pokemon is actually falling off. Like, it's inherently inconsistent, yeah, because of Hustle, but like, it has the damage, right? Like, this Pokemon has the damage still. Like, I don't feel like I'm really struggling at all, which is really cool. And I definitely agree. This Pokemon is actually doing really solid right now. We're going to see Unpheasant. I'm probably falling off a tiny bit. I'm not able to get the one-shot, and thanks to Hustle misses and crits and flinches, I actually do take another reset right here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not too bad. So on the follow-up attempt, I don't miss nearly as much, so I'm able to just power through him really easily, and we can head into Twist Mountain. As I make my way through, there are a couple of trainers with really strong fighting types, like this girl. Sometimes I can get past her. Honestly, I just kind of YOLO it, and she has a throw, which is very scary for me. Thankfully, I am able to knock her out without any problems. However, the Sock trainer later on, I actually run into him, and yeah, this was pretty bad because he's a lot easier to avoid, and I take a blackout. So honestly, I think I probably should have taken the reset back to the first girl and tried to dodge her a little bit better, and on top of that, also the Sock right here. So yeah, I think I just wasted a lot of extra time here. I didn't really need to, but yeah, it's okay. The second time around, I'm able to dodge him pretty easily, and I can pop out the other side at Icarus City. Of course, we're in an Ice-type gym. I am actually going to play it very safe and save pretty liberally in here, usually after every maybe 2 trainers or so. So, thankfully, though, I don't actually have any problems. I don't get very many Hustle misses. I'm able to tank the Cryogonal Ice Beams. Like, you saw that one did a ton of damage. But, yeah, actually, surprisingly, I don't have too many problems in the gym, and we can face off with Brycen. All right, let's do this, Brycen. And as we know, he is an absolute joke. And we get to show it off once again today. Dino should have no business winning this fight this easily, but he locks in right here. We get hit in confusion, and we tank the Aurora Beam and knock out his Cryogonal. Yeah, Dino is just that cool, and Brycen is just that much of a joke. Easy dub, moving on. And as we make our way through the tower, it's time for story time. So, I'm not really too much of a shiny hunter, but there are a couple of Pokemon that throughout the series I have definitely been huge fans enough to actually shiny hunt. And as you can imagine, Hydreigon and his line is one of them. So I have done multiple shiny hunts with, Masuda methods and stuff like that, egg hatching, and sometimes even random encounters and stuff like that for dinos in the past. But the other big one, of course, is going to be Litwick, if you couldn't guess. So not really a whole lot to talk about there. I am not really a big shiny hunter. I'm not really that interested in the whole hunt thing. It's kind of interesting to watch, and all power to the people that do it. But I guess I'm more just posing the question, what, I guess, for one, is your favorite shiny Pokemon? To me, it's Chandelure. Like, the Pokemon is just incredible as a shiny. Like, I will never not use a shiny Chandelure. This Pokemon is awesome. Kind of probably the same thing with Hydreigon. Like, I don't know what it is about the green. Like, it just fits so well with this Pokemon. Sure, they kind of ruined it a little bit whenever they got to the 3D era and they kind of muted the green some. I don't know. I don't really like that as much, but yeah, it's definitely Chandelure for me as my favorite shiny. So, but yeah, is there any Pokemon like that you will pretty much always shiny hunt, or stuff like that? Tell me, about your experience shiny hunting and stuff like that. Did you have like a really quick one time, or did you have one that took freaking forever in a day? Like, I don't know, just give me that engagement, give me a comment. But I also do genuinely want to know. I'm interested in interacting with you guys and learning what you think about shinies. So but yeah, so for me, 100% Chandelure is the best shiny, but especially here in Generation 5, the Hydreigon-line is not very far behind. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, finish off the rest of the tower right here, meet up with N at the top and see his fancy new dragon, and head out towards Nimbasa City to continue on with the gauntlets. So, of course, we're going to stop by Anvil Town. I'm going to get every single, easily accessible rare candy in this run, of course. That's going to eventually get us to 8 rare candies before the league. There are a couple more rare candies, like the Lost Lorn rare candy and Mistralton Cave rare candy, that are just so ridiculously out of the way that they're honestly never really worth it. But especially Anvil Town right here, the Route 16 candy, the one in the desert on our way out, all that fun stuff. It's pretty easy to grab these. Speaking of the desert, though, as we make our way through, I do kind of run into one more problem.
Have you used any candies yet?
No. I've not used a single... Oh my god, dude. Dino, my guy! Can we not?
I have not
that
used
is the
a single
second
candy
time
yet either.
I have lost to a Trubbish that poisoned me. That is the second time. All due to a hustle miss. And yeah, that really sucked. But also what sucks is it kind of messed up my muscle memory making my way through this. Because usually, I just follow my muscle memory and I wasted extra steps and stuff like that. But thankfully, we get through second time pretty easily. and we'll meet up with Ghetsis at the bottom, get a nice little lecture, and then we can meet up with everybody at Nacrene City, get our funny looking rock and a couple more rare candies before we head out towards Route 8 to face off with Bianca. However, before that though, I'm going to battle a couple extra rangers here on Route 8 and inside the Moor of Icarus. And after I battled this one guy up here with his Fracture team, I actually hit level 50, where I can finally, an hour and 25 minutes into the run, evolve into my middle stage. And let's go ahead and face off with Bianca. Alright, Bianca, it is your final showing, but it is going to be a showcase of how cool Zweilous is. So, of course, we get intimidated from the start, but honestly, it's not that bad. We're going to go for a couple Dragon Pulses on Samurott, and that's going to drop. And then Simisear comes out. Flame Burst does nothing, and we get to crunch that, as well as the Musharna. You love to see it. So, Zweilous showing off his really solid bulk and really powerful attacks right there. So let's go ahead, meet up with Ghetsis and his ninjas on the bridge. We're not going to get any calciums or any other vitamins this time around. I don't think this Pokemon actually really needs it, and we're going to head into Opelucid City. No problems as we make our way through the gym. Thankfully, we're actually able to use Dragon Pulse very effectively, because we did swap out the Eviolite for that Dragon Claw to give us a little bit of a boost, so none of the gym trainers give us any problems, and we can very quickly face off with our final gym leader. Alright, let's do this, Irish. Dragon versus Dragon. So, I have Dragon Pulse. I'm going to drop that Fracture. That's very good. Druddigon as well is going to drop. Haxorus, it's pretty bulky, but not bulky enough. So, one of the big upsides of using special attacks right there, even though we don't have great special attack base, yeah, we don't have to worry about Hessel. That's awesome. So let's go ahead, get out of here, head out towards Route 10. We're going to, of course, do a whole bunch of training right here. We are getting ever so close to that point where we can finally dump all our rare candies, but we do have one final battle with Sharon in the way before we get to Victory Road. Alright, one last showdown, Sharon. Let's do this. So, we go for a crunch against the Unfezant. We actually outspeed it, which is kind of impressive, honestly. Dragon Pulse onto the Emboar. Doesn't look like it's quite going to be a knockout with those leftovers, so I'm going to go for a return. We miss, but I hit on the following turn. So, wherever Liepard's going to come out, it's going to go for a slash, bring us pretty low, but one more return is going to kill that. Crunch onto the Simisage, but it hits us with a Seed Bomb into the red, but Zweilous clutches up. We get a nice free heal, and then there we go. We are set free into Victory Road. We're going to grab, of course, that candy across the puddle and do a little bit more training, but after we battle the doctor, we are going to be hitting level 56. When you know what time it is, we're going to dump all 8 of our rare candies and finally hit our final evolution, Hydreigon, just in time to face off with the League. Chantal is up first, and what do you know, we're just going to click a bunch of Expert Belt boosted or Black Glasses boosted crunch, same thing. And yeah, that's all gonna go down easy peasy. So actually something really fun as we knock out Chantal and, you know, spoiler alert, Caitlyn in the same way. We were actually coming down to the end of the race right here. As I was starting the Elite Four, I have actually caught up enough that D1 was actually doing the Ghetsis fight. So it's kind of crazy how close this race kind of actually became. So yeah, no knock to D1, but I definitely think that my my extra experience and stuff in black and white really helped me push this kind of race that we were doing a lot closer than it probably should have been. So let's go ahead, knock out Caitlyn right here, and now it's actually going to be time for some of our more problematic members, starting off with Grimsley. So Grimsley, of course, leads off with Scrafty. It has really good special defense, but we have no item acrobatics to hit it on its fighting type weaknesses, so that's pretty cool. So Dragon Pulse onto the Crocodile. We do get a critical hit, but of course this is a first run, so I actually really want to know if that Dragon Pulse can kill without that crit. So as I'm knocking out the Liepard right here, very easily of course, I'm actually going to take a reset. So this is a first run, and if you do these runs yourself, do more stuff like this. It's okay. The first run is not really that important, you know? Like, this is your time to gain knowledge, and as I try it again, I do get to see that, yeah, that Dragon Pulse is going to knock out that Crocodile without a critical hit, so I can play better on my follow-up attempt because of that knowledge that I gained. So, yeah, don't put as much stock into your first runs. That's kind of like the main thing that I gotta say right there. So, anyway, we got one member left. It's, of course, going to be the biggest problem for our typing. Let's do this. Dark may be weak to fighting, but Hydreigon has no problem with that because we have that acrobatics, and we are just going to tear through his team. And who needs an item? Who needs an item when you got no item acrobatics? Sock, of course, is going to live with Sturdy, but all it has is Karate Chop. Even a critical hit wasn't going to be doing that much, so waste our time a little bit with some full restore shenanigans. But after that, let's go ahead, head downstairs, and see how Alder's managing with N. N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground somehow, and it's going to be up to us to chase him down through it and take him down because Alder couldn't manage. It's alright, dude. We have the coolest dragon in the region. That's right, I said it. This is better than the legendaries. And yeah, I think we'll be okay. So yeah, let's make our way through. No need for the rare candy. Although I did learn something. You can actually run away from the Reshiram or Zekrom. Didn't know that before. That's kind of funny. Anyway, let's go ahead and face off with the man himself. By having a full party, we can deny adding Zekrom to it, so we can lead off Reshiram v Hydreigon. And we are finally utilizing Workup, and with one Workup boost, we are able just to plow through his team. Dragon Pulse onto the Vanillix, that's going to drop. Clink Clang's going to come out. I'm going to go for a Rock Smash, but that's Zoroark. Get out of here. One more Dragon Pulse onto the Archeops, that's going to go down. Clink Clang, it is pretty bulky, so it actually lives in the red, but it doesn't really do anything. So on the following turn, thanks to that defense drop I got, that's going to drop. Caracosta, of course, is going to live with Sturdy, does a good chunk of damage with Stone Edge, but no problem. Yeah, this fight was incredibly free, so yeah. Ghetsis is going to come in, throw his little tantrum, and we have one final fight to finish the run. Alright, let's do this, Ghetsis. This is why we got the Pecha Berry. We're going to work up once, get Toxic, heal it off with the Pecha Berry, and then we get to go to town. His Hydreigon comes out, but ours is obviously way cooler. For one, it's shiny, and second, it's ours. So that's cool. Without the Intimidate, we are able to Rock Smash that Crocodile, that Bisharp, and there we go. Bouffalant knocks itself out with a Head Charge, so that's no problem. Seismitoad drops, and last but not least is going to be the Electros, and there we go. Just two incredibly easy fights right there. You'll love to see it. So yeah, this was a ton of fun, and my live final thoughts, I think, really said it best. Nice. All right. Sub 150 is crazy. That's awesome. Nice. This Pokemon is actually kind of good. Like, legitimately, the only thing that holds it back is, like, the Lenora split, which is nothing new. Like, you know, so many Pokemon are held back by Lenora. And Hustle. Like, that is the only thing that actually holds this Pokemon back, which is just so cool. And there we go. We clock in with a final time of 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 50 seconds, with 10 blackouts and 4 resets. Yeah, this run was actually really fun. I honestly think that this is a very good Pokemon. Of course, it's inherently inconsistent and stuff like that, and takes forever to get to the final form, but I didn't actually really feel like I struggled at all in this run. And yeah, that's not too bad. So let's go ahead, wrap up these credits, see our final in-game time, and talk about how we're going to rank this guy. We land a final in-game time of 5 hours and 28 minutes. So, of course, I did go back and do a follow-up run with this Pokemon, you know, without the shiny, you know, without that, you know, inherent time loss and stuff like that. So that will be the run that I will rank eventually, but I did want to showcase this run because I think it was just a lot of fun to play alongside D1, and you know, of course, watching me crash out to getting blackouts to Trubbishes was honestly kind of hilarious. So there was that. That was the big selling point for me. So overall, though, this was a ton of fun. And on the follow-up attempt, I did struggle in some areas. I didn't in this one, especially Clay. Clay did not want to cooperate. So get still a pretty big improvement, landing a final time of 1 hour and 36 minutes with 6 seconds. 8 blackouts, 12 resets. I mostly just reset a little bit more and blacked out a little bit less. Not too bad. And that landed a final in-game time of 5 hours and 6 minutes. So that is the time that we're going to be throwing on the tier list, and we're going to bring it in to a B tier placement. This is actually incredibly impressive for this Pokemon, in my opinion. So I was not expecting this to do that good. B tier is incredibly respectable. Of course, we have the S and the S+, but not everything's going to reach those heights, right? I think B tier is a very solid placement, and yeah, very impressed to see Hydreigon land there, and it's very well deserved. So despite Hustle, I will still hold that Hustle is a good ability. I think it's not great, it's not the best, but I think it's pretty good. It's not bad, and it definitely helped this Pokemon get this solid time. So overall, though, this was a ton of fun. We did do post-game on the stream, so I'm going to touch on that a little bit. But if you really want a good breakdown of post-game, I highly suggest that you go check out D1's video for this counterpart right here. So yeah, he kind of pretty much dominated me in the main game, as you can imagine, in like the race aspect of things. But I think it was really cool what we did in the post game. So definitely go check that out. And once again, if you're interested, the link to the stream VOD will be down below as well. So go check that out if you want to see us struggle our way through this post game, because it was pretty interesting, not gonna lie. So, but I don't got time for that today. So definitely go check out those sources if you're interested, because I have to get ready for next month, because of course it's October, it's spooky month, and we got a whole bunch of fun stuff happening coming up this month, where I'm going to be starting off with Golurk. So bringing in the ghosties for the spooky month. You love to see it. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come back next week once we start with Spooky Month with Golurk. And like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. Love you all. Deuces.